So this week you are going to work on telling a wonderful short story. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you some different options on how you can do this, because I know for some of you that you've got lots and lots of great ideas inside your head, but sometimes that process of actually getting them down is a little bit more tricky. So some good ideas at the end of this video for how you can do that and enjoy doing it. But at the moment, let's think about getting those story ideas into our head, because every story needs characters, and you were working on that last week in your writing assignment. And as you were working on your characters, you would be thinking about where your characters lived and also when they lived, whether this is a story that happens back in the past, like our Magician's Nephew story, or whether it happens now. But the thing that we're going to do before you start to do any of your writing is we're going to think about the plot, because we need to do a little bit more planning. And for a really good plot, okay, then plots come out of our characters and our worlds, our setting, there being a problem that needs to be solved. And we talk about this a bit in your reading assignment today, which will also help you with this. But in stories like The Magician's Nephew, and I've said this, is there can be lots and lots of problems, because that helps build a really good exciting story. But because you're doing a short story, then you're going to think of a problem, and your problem is going to be somebody or something. Oops, almost looks like two separate words. Something being lost, and your characters are going to have to work together to solve the problem, because for every problem there needs to be a solution. Okay, so with your grown-ups, and have a think and a wee chat through, okay, about what the problem's going to be in your story. All right, and we did talk in class about it being around somebody or something getting lost. So what's the problem? What's going to be lost? Or who's going to be lost? So in your assignment, there's a planning document that you can use, or you can just grab a piece of paper like this, and you can just begin to think. And I know some of you like to doodle and you like to draw, so you could maybe make a quick, I can't draw, we know this, but you could maybe make, so, you might write so-and-so's, who's lost or what's lost. And then you're going to write and decide, even before you start writing, what's the solution to solve the problem? What's the answer? And then who's going to solve it? And your characters are somehow going to be involved in that, aren't they? The characters that you came up with last week. So come up with a really kind of exciting problem, or a really difficult problem, or a really awful problem, okay? And then come up with a solution. The other thing I'm going to say is, I don't want this to be a really frightening, awful story, okay? So stay away from the really, really bad stuff, okay? Your parents will steer you of that. If you're somebody who wants to make it really, really awful, no, okay? I want you to be able to read this story to a younger child and it be okay, all right? So keep your problems, okay? And keep your problems as something that a little brother or a little sister would be okay with reading, all right? So then what we have to do, let's see if I can find the piece of paper. is, even again, before you start your writing, okay, then I want you to think, how's your story going to start? Okay. Now, don't start with James got up in the morning and he brushed his teeth and he had his breakfast and he went, no, launch straight into the story. Okay. Start somewhere exciting, somewhere dramatic, you know, and you don't need to say there was a girl who had red hair and freckles and a smiley face. No, just start telling me what she did. And maybe at some part in the story you can say she smiled and you know, I don't know, something. I'm trying to bring the freckles into the story. Now I've given that example. I'm not sure, but just you don't have to, you don't have to give me so much detail. Concentrate on telling the story, okay? So the beginning of the story, and in the beginning of the story, you're going to mention your characters. You might have the setting, and you're definitely going to let the reader know what the problem is. I'm trying to make the problem dramatic. Okay. All right. And then in the middle of the story, this is where you build the tension. Okay. You make it exciting. And the way to do that is maybe make the problem quite, keep the problem being difficult. Don't make it too easy to solve. Okay? These characters, make them have to work at it. Maybe they try something and it doesn't work quite so well. And then decide what the solution is going to be. This is where your solution is going to be. Okay? And your reader can go, whew, good solution, or didn't like that solution. Okay? So your stories, decide what your beginnings, and you can just talk this through. You could talk this through with your grown-up. This is the kind of thing that we would be doing in class. Okay? So this is like the kind of class time work. Okay? We would be building this, okay, and you'd be talking to your neighbour about what the beginning is going to be, what the middle is going to be, what the solution's going to be. So see if you can talk this through with a grown-up or a sibling, okay, and decide on this before you start, okay, and then you're going to get to your writing. Okay, so there's two ways you can do this. All right, you can write. Okay, you can either, see, do I have anything here? Let me just see. Nope, look at all these documents on my computer. Yeah, so you can type your story if you want to. Okay, you can absolutely grab a piece of lined paper and do it handwriting. Okay, so you can absolutely, you can type. Okay, a lot of you will like to handwrite, okay, because at the moment that's the quickest way. Look at me it's because I'm trying to hold the and write at the same time, and it's right at the edge of the paper. Can I get an E in there? I think I wrote my placemat. So you can type, you can handwrite. But what some of you might like to do is, what I've done is I've taken a couple of blank pieces of paper, and do you see how I've folded them? Okay, all right, and I've made this little book, okay, so you can make a front cover. I'm going to put the title, and you can draw, here's my stick men. And okay, I'm terrible at stick men and I never quite know what to do with their arms. Okay? I would never choose to draw, but some of you love to draw. And then we can write who the author is. And that's me. So I'm going to write this. Okay, and then you can take these as pages, and what you can do, providing you use a pencil and not a Sharpie so it doesn't bleed through, is you could draw a picture here. You could do like a cartoon booklet, okay, where you can tell your story like a graphic novel or some kind of comic, and you can draw a picture, a couple of pictures for the beginning, you can draw a couple of pictures for the middle, and then a couple of pictures for the end, and you can tell your story that way. And then either you could write a little bit at the bottom, okay, or your grown-up could help you write. I don't want it to be all pictures. I would like some words to help tell the story, but a lot of it can be pictures if you would rather do that. What I'm looking for, whether you write or whether you do a bit more of a comic, okay, is I'm looking to see the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and the end of the story. So if you do a comic, you can't just do one picture, okay? You need to do more than one picture. And this week, okay, I've really kept, so there's no grammar work this week, there's no reading comprehension this week, you've got your book to read, okay? But all the rest of your time is going on your story, okay? So start by doing a little bit of planning and then get straight into however you're going to tell your story, whether it be writing, handwriting, typing, or if you're going to do a bit more of a kind of comic approach. Okay, again, the same as I said in the reading, if you've got questions, if you're working on Monday and you've got questions, you can message me. Might or might not be able to answer on Monday, depending what I'm doing with family. If I can, I will. But if not, I'm definitely around on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday to answer any questions you've got. I am super excited about seeing your stories, and we will be able to share them together in class. So don't forget, okay? Don't forget to bring them. Get them into these backpacks, get them into these folders, make sure you know where they are, and make sure your names are on them, okay? All right, people, let's get story writing.